ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody around the world, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all the globe, The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, yes indeed, clap it up, get excited, wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed, episodic or weekly, episodic, phenomenal show right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform imaginable. Absolutely, we got a great show for you today with news breaking left, right, and center over the weekend. Oh yes, indeed, we had a lot of stuff going on over the week. Confirmed fights have officially been made, fights getting finalized on top of in the boxing world. Now we got a legitimate repertoire of talent facing off against each other on one of the first major cards of the year in May, with breaking news going on with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney with their respective fights happening on the same night. Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. Oh, we got a phenomenal show. Also, on top of that, we also have Canelo Alvarez dissing Terrence Crawford and his resume, with one of the reasons as to why this fight, in his mind, may not be as close as people may assume it will be. People may be hyping it up as due to the lack of talent that Terrence Crawford has faced off in his career. Oh yes, indeed. We got shots going off. We got fights being made. We got the world at our feet because we got news breaking and everybody's up in arms because boxing is bigger than it's been in a mighty long time. And oh yes, we're excited for it. Oh, we're happy for it. And oh, we're here to cover it all right here on The Watchable with me, yo, Jean-Luc Welch. Again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Oh, and by the way, please leave a like on the video. Comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Oh yes, we got a phenomenal community. We are growing stronger by the day. It's all thanks to you and your support. And remember, we're available. We are here every Tuesday, every Thursday of every week, covering the world of boxing and the NBA. And as well, at the end of the show, we got the championship rounds. That's right. Whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to talk about, you have the floor once we hit the end of the show, once I cover everything on my end of the spectrum. Oh yes, indeed. We got a lot to show and we got a lot to talk about. But then once I'm done, the floor is yours. Whether it's movies, whether it's comics, whether it's video games, don't matter to me. Anything and everything. Oh yeah, we're here and we're live and we're ready for anybody and everybody to have some fun and enjoy what you got to offer. Oh, and by the way, we're also going to cover the monster Inoue is making his return this week. Oh, we're going to break down that fight with the new fight in Joon. I believe it's a Kim Joon. I believe I have his name written down. I'll look at my notes to make it sure. With the replacement for Sam Goodman. Oh yes, the monster's returning. Fights coming in May. We got a lot to offer in a short amount of time to do it. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Also remember, we're available on every podcasting platform imaginable. Absolutely. And without further ado, we got boxing to cover. So since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. That's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of the show going underway, as we got some breaking news in the world of fights in boxing with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney having their confirmed opponents be announced for, I believe it's May of this year, with Ryan Garcia not facing off against Isaac Cruz and instead facing off against the mouth, or essentially the loud mouth of boxing, one of the most infamous characters in the sport as a whole, Rolly Romero. Oh yes indeed. That's right, the brother who keeps talking himself into big fights has again talked himself into another big fight. The loud mouth of boxing is back. Rolly Romero against Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney is confirmed to face off against Jose Ramirez. Oh, and by the way, building up to all of that, we got another major fight coming on in with essentially the co-main to the two biggest fight, or the co-main to the two main events of the night. We got Martin Bakole facing off against Efe Ajagba in a heavyweight clash of true top 10 contendership. Whoever wins this fight moves closer to the pinnacle of heavyweight boxing, which is a shot at the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. It's moving their way up on the rung of the ladder. Oh yeah, oh, it's phenomenal. We're gonna break down what this means for each fighters, why this is happening, is it good, is it bad, what I think's going to happen in these fights, and much more, along with your fan input. But we got people joining in to chat, like Adi Mehdi. What's going on with you? How you doing? Glad that you're new to the channel. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We're happy that you arrived. We're happy that you're here, and I would like to welcome you to one of the greatest shows that you ever witnessed and see. This is the hottest show in all the globe, The Welch Report, with me, Joon, where we cover boxing, where we cover the NBA, where we cover everything that we can in the world of sports as a whole. You are more than welcome. Anybody is more than welcome to come in and enjoy, have your fun. We're here to learn, we're here to laugh, and we are here to grow. We are definitely here to make it so that everybody has some fun and everybody gets excited of the move that's going on in the world of sports right now, and especially in the world of boxing, because it is a very high-profile affair that we are witnessing right now. And I'm glad that you're here listening to me and that you're along for the ride. And anybody else tuning in and listening, again, you can put your comments in the chat. You can leave your comments, your thoughts, your opinions, and your debates right here in the chat for anybody and everybody to want to come in and discuss and to talk. Oh, yes, indeed, we're open book for anybody. We'll change the format of the show in a heartbeat if the conversation is good enough. Oh, absolutely. But we are here to make this the best show for you. But with that being said, thank you, Adi Mehdi, since you're new and it's your first time to your channel. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. But we got fights to cover, so let's break it down, shall we, as we cover the world of boxing on this show. First and foremost, we got, again, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero in a fight that has everybody really salivating at their mouth. Remember, the context surrounding this whole affair between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Let's give you a quick timeline for what has transpired. Ryan Garcia whooped Devin Haney, beat the brakes off that brother. Then it got found out, popped dirty for Austrian. Now it also got found out it was inside the bottle that he was taking of what was supposed to be legal prescriptions or legal supplements that were good under the drug administration that was doing testing at that point in time. Then the bottle itself got popped. Yes, he popped dirty. So he didn't mean to cheat, but he did cheat irregardless. Ryan Garcia gets banned. The fight gets overturned to a no contest. He has to pay fines left, right, and center. Rah, rah, rah. Now, a year later, or roughly a year later, or even less than a year later, actually, we see Ryan Garcia back and Devin Haney back. When it seemed like Devin Haney was going to do a bunch of stuff outside of the world of boxing, with litigation, with laws, with the courts, instead of getting back in blood, now him and Turkey Al-Sheikh and Ryan Garcia all met together. Devin Haney dropped the charges. Ryan Garcia is now cleared to fight again, and we're here back where we want to be. And the winner of these fights will face off against each other, which is essentially similar to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, I believe 1 or 2 years ago in that Ring of Fire early Saudi Arabia events. Both of them will be fighting on the same card. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney will essentially be co-headliners for this fight. If both of them win their fights between their respective opponents, which again, Ryan Garcia is facing off against Rolly Romero and Devin Haney facing off against Jose Ramirez. If Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, they win their fight, they're facing off against each other finally. My gosh, finally. Been waiting on this. We're clamoring for this. Wanting to see this actually transpire. And we're here. We're here. We're actually here. We are on the cusp of a rematch that has been hyped up for well over a year. Will still be forever one of the biggest payday events that boxing can have at its disposal in terms of the grand scheme of fan interest. Also one of the most high-profile fights that we could see. And we are one fight away. And when it comes to Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, initially it was going to be Rolly Romero, or not Rolly Romero, it was going to be Isaac Cruz versus Ryan Garcia, which we covered on the past show. And that fight we were saying as essentially the tune-up for Ryan Garcia to face off against Devin Haney. My gosh, you want to talk about incredible affairs. You want to talk about a big leap, a big test, which we initially thought was going to happen. But Isaac Cruz pulled out. Why? I'm not really sure at this point in time. Couldn't find out the concrete reason. But all that being said, we're here. Rolly Romero is going to fight against Ryan Garcia. And let me tell you something right now. This will be one of the most high-profile and talked about build-ups to a fight that we've seen in a mighty long time. Talk about an incredible affair of outright trash talk. Both of these eccentric, eclectic, utterly entertaining individual. For some people, the right reasons. For some people, the wrong reasons. But either way, brother, you watch. These two are going to jaw at each other like nobody's business. Rolly Romero, one of the best talkers from a standpoint of outright disrespect, does not care about what he says, doesn't care about who he says it to, is outright confident. Again, we can talk about the talent later, which I have consistently had my gripes on in the past. But regardless of which, brother, this is going to be a fight that is going to be one of the best builds that we'll see for a match this year. I guarantee it. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. It will be one of the best builds we'll see for a fight this year. Because both of these people, brother, you want to talk about an incredible build up to a fight. Trash talk galore, disrespect galore. Both of them have been racist. Both of them have been incredibly crude and rash. Both of them have been polarizing in their ability to handle the media. It's incredible. But I will tell you this, regardless of who you want to win the fight, that's going to be a fight to behold. I'm excited just to see, not even the fight. The most exciting part of that fight might just be the months leading up to it. The build-up, the lead. The entertainment factor is going to be outright incredible. Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. Oh, and what's going on? Quentin Wells, what's up with that? How you doing? Glad that you're here. Glad that you're tuning in to the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday of the week covering the world of boxing and the NBA and other sports around the globe. And we got a segment at the end of the show, if you stick around, called the Championship Rounds. Yes, indeed, where anybody and everybody can talk about whatever they want to discuss on the show once we cover all the topics of the set show that we've made for today. Oh, it's going to be a mighty long time. It's going to be incredible. And we're going to have a lot of fun. So thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. What you got to say on the day? Ryan Garcia era 2025. Oh, okay, I see we got a fan going in for today. What's going on with you? Quentin, well, let's see. So Ryan Garcia era all 2025. You think this brother's going to be undefeated? You think this brother's going to be... It's going to be his time, his domain, his rise to stardom as the one, not just one of the biggest faces, but the man in the sport of boxing. Maybe that will happen. Long live Devin Haney. Wait, now hold on. Now wait a minute. Now I'm getting mixed signals. So are you for Ryan Garcia? Are you for Devin Haney? Are you for both? Or you you just for everybody. Oh, well, wait a minute now. Now, see, okay, I see where you're rocking. Okay, you know what? I can rock with this. You know what? This is dope. This is cool. Long live everybody. That's cool. No problem there. Ryan Garcia, can't wait for his era. Devin Haney, let's see what's going on with him. Let's see. Rolly Romero, hey, you're coming back. Let's see if you can actually make an achievement and make an actual splash in the world of boxing with your talent rather than your mouth. Let's see you improve. And Bill Haney, hey, we don't disrespect anybody. We've gotten on Bill Haney in the past, but look, we want everybody to be successful in any way, shape, or form. Somehow, now in the ring, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose unless it's a draw. But regardless of which, we wish success on everybody. So I appreciate the sentiment. We understand it. So yeah, I rock with the theme. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. So appreciate the positivity that you're bringing in to the stream and to the boxing regime that we got going on right here on this show. What you got going? Jay Riggs, what's up with you? How are you doing? Appreciate you tuning in, coming back. Everybody is here, and we got a jam-packed show. We got news galore breaking in the world of boxing day. Right now, we're talking about the breaking news that happened, I believe, either today, this morning, or yesterday, that got confirmed. Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, they're going to face off against each other. It's going to be phenomenal. Joining all the way from the snow in Houston. Wait a minute now. Hold on a second. It's snowing in Houston, Texas. Excuse me. It's also snowing in Louisiana. I saw something of a weather report over on the airwaves of the news. My gosh, what the world is going on? This is ridiculous. Well, I hope you're warm. I hope you're comfortable. I hope if you live in Houston, I hope that indeed you ain't out of your environment per se in your thing. Hopefully you're being safe. Hopefully you're being warm. Hopefully you're safe on the roads wherever you gotta go. And so, yeah, hopefully everything's well with you, but enjoy the snow. Down here over in the good old South in North Carolina, we ain't got nothing. It's cold for no reason. I hate it. I despise it. Oh, it's terrible. It's horrible. It's nothing but 40 degrees and wind chill. We got problems, and I can't stand. So at least you're getting the benefits of the cold, which is a winter wonderland, and I'm so happy you get to experience that. So be safe down in Houston, but glad you're tuning in. Get yourself a cup of coffee, get yourself a cup of cocoa, with marshmallows. Put some vanilla in there, put a little bit of coffee creamer, some caramel, mix it all together. Oh yes, indeed. Maybe even put in some heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, or some half and half to give it a little more thickness and flavor. You got yourself a prime and ready wintry drink to suit your palate. Absolutely, at least that's my opinion. But hey, let's see what you got. Oh, Valero gave you a day off. Well, phenomenal. Well, shoot, enjoy it. Look outside. Let you bundle up. Do what they do in all those Hallmark movies. Get yourself a nice comfy sofa. Put on a Hallmark movie or put on my show on TV. And watch me as you get cozy by the fire or wherever you are. But I appreciate you tuning in. Please be safe. Please stay warm and enjoy your day off as you get a chance to get some well-deserved rest and relaxation or take care of whatever you got to take care of on the day. Absolutely. But let's see, Joshua Hunter, what's up with you? How you doing? Glad you're here. Glad you're tuning in. We are here. We're live. We got so much breaking news in the world of sports as a whole. Thank you for tuning in. They're gonna make a crazy comeback in your minds. Let's see if that is indeed the case. Again, the ultimate task is Ryan Garcia. But before that, gotta get through Jose Ramirez. And we're gonna break down Devin Haney, versus Jose Ramirez. No question. We're going to talk through it. Absolutely. But first, we got to cover Rolly versus Ryan real quick, because it is one of the biggest things that are going about in the world of sports right now. Again, it's going to be a barn burner of a fight. Oh, mark my words. I can't wait for it. I'm excited. It might be cold in Houston, but let's bring the heat on with a great show. Hey, I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to give you all everything I got, and we're going to start it off right now. But let's get to it right now. Ryan Garcia will be the face of boxing in Quentin Wells' mind. And again, Ryan Garcia is my fighter, so I completely understand the fanfare, completely understand the favoritism. I get it. I'm excited for it. I want to see Ryan Garcia show the best that he can be, absolutely. But he's got to get through Rolly. And if he gets through Rolly, then he gets Devin Haney. But can he get through Rolly in the first place? And that's what we need to talk about. Now let's jump into the action. Can Ryan Garcia beat Rolly Romero? Is it likely he's going to beat him? Is it going to be an upset? In you all's opinion, we'd love to see what you all think. Like we think, hey, J. Rick said, hey, it might not be a comeback. He might be referring to Devin Haney. It might not be a comeback for Devin Haney as much as it is for Ryan Garcia. But regardless of which, even for Ryan, coming back from the ban, is this going to be a situation where can he beat Rolly Romero? Or will it be something where Rolly Romero is going to be, hey, could actually put off an upset? Either by fluke like it did against Barrosos, or legitimately put it all together and actually get the job done. Okay, so that's what I thought. So it was for Devin Haney. Excuse me, my apologies. But even still, the question still stands. And it takes it out of everyone, Rolly hits the hardest. And this is where the issue comes into play. Like I've said countless times, with a heavy hitter and a power puncher, the biggest thing to get their respect is to get their respect. What's that mean? The best way to get to get a power puncher, a dominant physical fighter, to back up or at least think about what to do next is to hurt him. Rolly's got the ability to hurt him. Rolly's got one of the hardest punches at 135, as Tank said himself. And at 140, which I assume this fight will be at 140, there ain't no way he's moving back down. It's going to be a situation where if Rolly tags Ryan, hey, stuff could be in trouble. Stuff could be in danger. Because we understand outside of the Ryan Garcia Philly shell, that is incredibly unorthodox. But we can't deny, as much as I clowned on in the past, it was effective. If Ryan does get caught through that, or even gets caught before he can use that, and gets tagged and hurt, like he did against Callum Smith, against a legitimate power puncher like Rolly Romero, oh boy, that could be a problem. Because here's the thing. I'm not saying that Ryan's going to lose. Again, my opinion, Ryan's going to win. My opinion, Ryan's going to knock out Rolly. My opinion, Ryan is going to beat Rolly Romero within 7 rounds. He's going to knock him out. He's going to KO him. He's going to either catch him with a left hook or catch him with that straight right down the pipe to start the beginning of the end. And then, because of Rolly Romero's, we'll say, lack of defense, especially when he gets pressured, especially when he gets bullied, especially when he gets overwhelmed with speed and outright aggression. Like we saw against Isaac Cruz, he's going to succumb, he's going to fall, and he's going to get knocked out. That's what I can see happen. Definitely. Because if Isaac Cruz can do it, and Isaac Cruz had to work a lot harder in every single one of his fights because of his stature and his style. You can't tell me that Ryan Garcia wouldn't be able to handle Rolly, especially with his speed and his own power in his own right, which is one of the best in the division. Excuse me while I take a sip of my drink for today. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good. I tell you. Can't nothing beat a good cup of water. Can't nothing beat it. But regardless of which, when it comes to the world of Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia has everything to handle Rolly with ease. Because one of the biggest things about Rolly is his explosiveness. Rolly's ability to be able to jump and lunge in on his opponents. That's what gave Tank so much trouble. Let's be frank. As much as Tank outclasses Rolly, that was one of the things outside of the power that did give Tank some trouble in that fight. Yes, the knockout was viral. It was incredible, don't get me wrong. But it also took 6 rounds to get to that. And it wasn't like Rolly wasn't doing some good work in the midst of that. It was. He showed something, which I have to give credit where credit is due. You have to. You can't just, we don't do unbiased right here. We got to call it like we saw it. And like we saw it, yes, it ended in catastrophe, but it wasn't a horrible fight that we saw Rolly Romero fight against Gervonta Davis. Due to that explosiveness, due to the ability to close the distance, close the gap on top of the power. Now, his defense can be something that is a lot to be asked for. Understandable. No issue there. Absolutely. And as an IQ fighter, once that explosiveness goes away, somebody's able to match it or quell it, well, it becomes essentially a sitting duck to some extent. Especially if you got speed and the ability to beat him to the punch, like with Isaac Cruz. Tight hooks, tight shots, precise punching, and or just outright matching him in speed, you can get him. Ryan Garcia has all the tools. The biggest thing is, will Ryan be able to, if he does get caught by Rolly, and get surprised by the explosiveness that Rolly brings to the table? Unlike with Callum Smith, will he be able to get up? Now, I'm not saying he won't be able to, because he got up against a Tank who landed a flush counter to the face. So will it happen? If he does get caught, will he be able to get up? Most likely. Yeah, let's not give too much disrespect. Yeah, he'll probably be able to get up. But in the whole, it's just something to be on the lookout for this fight. The explosiveness of Rolly Romero could make this a tougher night than people may expect. Now, with all that being said, Ryan's going to knock him out. Ryan's going to beat him. Ryan, especially at 140. Oh, gosh, especially at 140. Oh, my gosh. With him actually focused in training, keeping himself in good health, keeping themselves focused on the sport instead of outside troubles? Yes, wholeheartedly believe he will be able to destroy Rolly Romero within 7 rounds. Once he sees that his speed and Rolly's speed, it's not comparable. Once he gets adjusted to it, yeah, he can handle it. And he can take it. You need to catch him with the left hook or straight right hand down the middle. Bum rush him. And catch him clean. Especially catch him when Rolly tries to throw with that lightning left hook that can go faster than the eye can see. Genuinely. Rolly's out of there. And I think he's going to win. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I think Rolly, if he has patience, he could be better. But he lets his aggression get the best of him. And that's even in sparring when he sparred against Ryan. You can see Ryan was holding back his punches. He was. They did spar before. Ryan Garcia was able to relatively, I don't want to call it nonchalant, but because it was sparring. But you could see that Ryan Garcia wasn't putting his all into that fight. Yet still, he was able to control and quell Rolly. And Rolly, his aggression, like you said, his impatience, to a degree, his pride, it gets in the way of what needs to be done, and that leads to mistakes. Happened against Tank. We've seen it happen against Spark. We saw it happen against another brother in training that was it 130? Was it 130, 125 that he got dropped against a fighter in sparring? Dropped that brother in Rolly Romero. I mean, cold hard dropped him. One clean shot, put him out. I forget who it was. But we've seen it. And he refuses to make the adjustments to mitigate those issues, to mitigate those problems, to mitigate those situations. He refuses to make those changes. And again, it's not even the patience that I'm concerned about with Rolly. It is the aggression of the opponent. That's what's going to beat him. That's what's going to beat him. If you're patient like Tank, you can catch him and hurt him. If you're aggressive like Isak Cruz, you can catch him and hurt him. Whatever you do, you can hurt him both ways. You can hurt him going backwards, or you can hurt him going forward. Literally, we've seen it. And so it's like Rolly Romero is a kryptonite regardless of where he goes. His defense is suspect. He still does that show-style defense that got on with Jared Anderson and other boxers who is all flash, it's all different guards, but it ain't effective. It's all, excuse me, it's all different forms of defense that he uses within a fight, but it's not effective defense within a fight. It's a problem. And so no, Rolly Romero is not going to be able to win. He's going to get put out. He's going to get knocked out. He'll put on a better performance than I think we may expect because of his physical capabilities. But as a fighter, no, he's getting handled. And if it's a continuation of what we saw in sparring, oh, he's getting put out clean. Put out clean, especially at 140 with a fully rehydrated, focused and driven, training, work ethic, mindset that Ryan Garcia has right now. He's going to put Rolly out. And once again, like I've said countless times, Rolly Romero keeps talking himself into these major fights. Rolly Romero keeps talking himself into these mega events, but his talent doesn't back it up. And the ironic thing is his talent can be something spectacular. However, the brother is just not focused to make the necessary changes in his style to make himself the best that he can be. And he is stuck at a ceiling that he will never get over. That's the truth. He's stuck at a ceiling. He's stuck. Excuse me. Excuse me. My apologies. But he's stuck. He's stuck. He's stuck at a ceiling that he's got the ability to be so much better than he is. So much better. But you saw it against Burosos. You saw it against Isak Cruz. You're going to see it against Rolly Romero again. Brother is at a capped ceiling that he refuses to get himself over. He refuses to improve. And it's frustrating. Best nature of the beast. And because of that, he's going to keep getting these big fights because he is a name that will draw due to what he can do to talk a fight up into a mega event. Yes, indeed. But beyond that, oh, it's a problem. Major problem. I think Rolly will lose to Ryan, but he can beat Haney. Now, hold on a minute. Now, hold on a second. I think Rolly would lose to Ryan, but he could beat Haney. That could it? Let me think. No, I disagree. Here's the thing. Haney can't stop a man with power coming in and swinging all day. Here's the thing. I disagree because of what Devin Haney has done in the past to be successful. Devin Haney, again, his talent isn't bad. It is better than Rolly Romero. Everybody that Devin Haney beat at the elite level, Rolly Romero wouldn't beat. Let's keep that. Again, I see why you're saying it. I get why you're saying it. Because the power, no question. But the issue became he faced off against Jorge Linares, who stunned the brother. And he was still able to put up. He faced off against good gosh. I don't know what's going on with me today. He faced off against Jorge Linares, who caught him. And he was still able to win that fight pretty handily. He faced off against Lomachenko, who was doing phenomenal work, and beat him. He even got rocked in the midst of the inside fight against Devin Haney, but still was able to pull it out in the 12th round with one of the best fights of the year. The issue with Devin Haney is the fact that size is what helps him to win the most. If he faced off against Rolly, IQ-wise, he's leagues better than Rolly. We all understand it. I believe, or at least for me, maybe you can disagree. Understandable. You can disagree. I get it. But for me, I see it. Devin Haney's actual talent is above Rolly Romero. That's true. That is true. Because we've seen Rolly Romero outboxed as well as outclassed, as well as knocked out. So all three forms of loss we've seen with Rolly Romero. When it comes to Devin Haney would be able to outbox Rolly. He would. And when it comes to a physical standpoint, the punch will be dangerous, absolutely. But the countering ability will be something that he will be able to use. And the pot shotting would be effective and would win, in my opinion, due to the length and size that we have on Rolly Romero. Genuine. But if Rolly Romero was the same height as him, like with Ryan Garcia, that's when we could say, okay, yeah, I think Rolly would beat him. Because when it comes to Rolly versus Devin, Rolly is, you can time and stop Rolly if you know what you're doing. If you can actually use the ring, you can. He's not a great boxer. We understand this. We understand this. He's not a great boxer. If a 40-year-old Barrosos could do what he did, yes, he had power, understandable. But if a 40-year-old Barrosos could do what he did against Rolly Romero, while Devin Haney may not have the power, the length and actual IQ he'll be able to use to be able to beat him. Because Rolly wouldn't be able to reach him. Rolly wouldn't be able to get on the inside. Rolly wouldn't be able to use that explosiveness to the fullest of extent because of, one, the distance control that Devin Haney has against smaller opponents, and two, because of the ability of Devin Haney to genuinely, when against smaller opponents, use that jab as a javelin. He's done it against just about everybody. It's been effective. We can't deny that. And so against Rolly, no, I don't agree. Now, could it happen? I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying it is not a affair that, hey, if they did fight, I would not be concerned for Devin Haney. Oh, not in the slightest. Oh, I'd be horrified for Devin Haney. Because I would understand if it does get to the fact that your boxing doesn't work, oh, you're a sitting duck. You are a sitting duck. Completely understandable. I completely get it. He would be a sitting duck, and he would, if his distance and actual IQ couldn't get the job done, oh, he's done against Rolly. Absolutely. But I think it would against the likes of Rolly because of who Rolly is as a fighter. So I think at that point in time, skills would trump the power because he would negate the use of the power by Rolly Romero, in my opinion. But don't tell me I would still be horrified. Or I'd be scared. Because I would know if he gets caught, oh, he's done. He's done. It's just my opinion. You don't got to agree. I get it. But for me, I don't see Rolly on that level. Because Devin Haney is still somebody who is on the elite rung of fighters at 140. He is. We don't see Rolly Romero as that in the slightest. Rolly Romero is a gatekeeper more than anything. Genuine at this stage of his career. And so because of that, I don't see that he would be able to win would be a major threat. I don't think it would win. Again, in my opinion, just humbly. Just humbly. And again, yes, I believe Loma should have won against Devin Haney. That's me. You agree as well. Phenomenal. The fight was incredibly close. Again, I covered it in the past. I don't believe it was a robbery, but I do think that Lomachenko should have been the one to win. I do, in my estimation. But again, we'll see what happens. A real ref would have called a point deduction for hugging in those 2 rounds after he got that. See, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. There should have been some stuff for clinching, but it has been clinching all of his career and never getting point deductions as he should have. So yeah, that's a problem. It is a problem. But because he's mastered that, like James Harden mastering getting fouled in his prime when he was averaging 26 points a game. At that point in time, looked like an unstoppable scorer and getting to the line at will because he knew how to use the rules. Devin Haney does know how to do that on top of his actual talent. So yeah, it'll be hard to beat. It'll be hard to beat. That 40-year-old Barroso who probably KO all 4 kings. He's got the power to put the 4 kings out. The talent, I don't think so. But the power, if there was anybody, it's like Barroso is like Ernie Shavers way back in the day. For those of you who don't know, we got people who are the strongest punchers to ever grace the boxing landscape. You have people like Julian Hart Jackson. You got people like George Foreman. You got people like Mike Tyson, Joe Frazier, Lennox Lewis, Joe Lewis, Archie Moore. Phenomenal. Heavy hitters left, right, and center. Power punchers galore. Even on a lesser run, people like David Tua. One of the greatest left hooks in history. It's phenomenal. Across the board. Klitschko. Some of the greatest punchers in history. It is widely regarded that the best puncher ever in the sport of boxing was Ernie Shavers. Now, Ernie Shavers never won a title. Now, Ernie Shavers never became a champion, I believe. But Ernie Shavers was a brawler who put down Larry Holmes in Larry Holmes' prime. Didn't knock him out, but put him down. One of the cleanest right hooks you ever see. Bro, I believe, not broke Muhammad Ali's jaw, but Ali said that he was the hardest puncher he ever faced. George Foreman said that Ernie Shavers was the hardest puncher that we've seen in the sport of boxing. It's widely regarded that he's probably the hardest puncher we've seen in the history of the sport, period. Though he didn't win anything. That brother had the ability to put out everybody in their prime. Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ali, Ken Norton, Von Lyle, don't matter. Anybody and everybody across eras had the power to put them all out if he ever faced off against him. That is what Barroso is. The brother's got the power, the otherworldly power to put everybody out. Does he have the ability to? No. But the puncher's chance for him is the biggest threat for anybody. It's a bigger threat than anybody else in the regime around the division when it comes to Barroso's. Just like with Ernie Shavers. Barroso is the Ernie Shavers of right now. 40 years old. And the brother is one of the biggest threats in the division. Strictly off of a puncher's chance alone. Because that punch can rock the world. Horrifying. Oh, it's terrible. It is terrible. It's horrible. And hey, that may be why a lot of people aren't giving him the opportunity. That could be. That could be why moving his rung up the ladder is so difficult and hard. That could be why at age 40 he's still rocking and kicking, because the brother genuinely is still a threat. Because he's just that strong. I don't see elite if you only mention 2 controversial fights. Again, he was widely regarded as at that point in time one of the best at 135. He did become undisputed. He did beat Kambosos, who just came off the backs of beating Teofimo Lopez, and then beat him again. So we can say that he's at least faced off against, at that point in time, elite competition. Yes. And then on top of that, He's faced off against Ryan Garcia and Lomachenko and Kambosos and Linares. So I don't have the resume in front of me. So for me, he's faced off against people that either other people just didn't bother fighting or people just ducked from outright that were indeed the tops of their game. And if you can put on the fight that you did against Lomachenko, against Devin Haney, regardless of how you feel about the win or loss, brother, that's elite for me. That's elite. That is elite. Because if we can go that far, again, I hate going back to this, but if we can go that far, we can look at Tank as well and say that Tank ain't faced really anybody either. So calling him elite because of the lack of big name stars, which is less than Devin Haney. Let's be clear. It is less than Devin Haney that Tank has fought in his career. That is undeniable. Leo Santa Cruz, Pedraza, Ryan Garcia are the biggest wins in his career. Not, you want to say Gamboa? Gamboa had a busted Achilles in that fight. And so, if we want to be completely honest, if he's got a better resume than Tank, and he does, should we call Tank not elite also? If you're saying that Devin Haney's resume doesn't make him elite from that perspective. And so that's what we have to say again. And again, I get it. He knockouts sell everybody. Knockouts sell everything. If you can't knock somebody out, you got better look good doing it. And Devin Haney, oftentimes ain't really great when it comes to the look of the fight. We get it. But we are judging the production and the names at this point. You can talk about excitement. You can talk about selling. You can talk about the look of a fighter as a different point as to why you need to fix up your style. But the performance against elite, we have seen Devin Haney do and do phenomenally against. And whether you feel some of his wins are justified or not, the performance that he put on, many people couldn't do that. They couldn't. To be clear. So I would deem him as elite. In my eyes. Again, kind of like with Wilder at the time when he was beating a bunch of people, but the names weren't really great. But it wasn't until he faced off against Fury that all of a sudden, now, yeah, this brother is, yeah, he got beat. Yes, he did. But it's still, we can still give Wilder his respect. We understood what he was. But even then, we look back and say what he was as a rudimentary boxer. Still, brother got the job done. With everything that we hated about him in his style, he got the job done consistently and in a dominant fashion. So everybody loved it. So yeah, so I can see what you mean. But again, we still got more fights on the docket, like with Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez. Now, this is a fight where I'm intrinsically interested in. I'm very interested in this fight because when you look at Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, just like with Wilder and Parker and AJ and Otto Wallin, if Ryan wins against his fight, Devin wins against his fight, they face off against each other. I am scared for Devin against Jose Ramirez because I feel like whoever fails on this end to make this mega fight happen, most likely is going to be the likes of Devin Haney. Genuine. That's the thing. Now, can Devin Haney beat Jose Ramirez? I believe so. Yes, I do. But at the same breath, I'm genuinely concerned that he may not be that if there was going to be a situation where this fight didn't come to fruition because somebody didn't hold it at the end of the bargain when it comes to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney finally facing off against each other. I'm concerned. I am concerned for Devin Haney against Ramirez. I really am. Genuinely, I am. Because maybe it's just the residue of what happened in the last fight. Maybe it's the residue of what happened against Ryan Garcia. The residue, the remnants of what we saw Ryan Garcia do to absolutely not just pick apart, but blow through what we thought was phenomenal defense that Devin Haney had. It's a concerning aspect that we could see the same, well, not the same, that we could see a similar situation happen with Devin Haney, that he loses. Maybe not get knocked out, but loses against Jose Ramirez. Because Ramirez, again, as a boxer, he's not better. But as a puncher, especially now that we know that, again, if you can match Devin Haney physically, you can really give him a lot of trouble. It's the physical attributes of Devin Haney, the natural size, the natural height, the natural weight that he can balloon up to, as well as the length that he has in his reach. Those are the things that helped him to be so successful throughout his career. You match up somebody that can actually match him in that, as well as in speed, if as well in speed makes it even better. But just in the physical capabilities, can make it difficult, can make it hard, can make it something that is a legitimate workaround. He's got to work and get through. That's what we could see with Jose Ramirez. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be likely. Just concerned. Very, very concerned that this is what we could see with Devin Haney. And he could actually get upset by Ramirez. Genuine. And again, where's it? I just pulled it up. Here we go. You can't count Ramirez out, even if he looks out of weight. He still has a dog and will keep throwing punches. Again, the aggression of Ramirez could be something that could break through to Devin Haney. It could. I'm not saying it will. Again, I think Devin Haney will win. However, it's still a situation where, like we've talked about in the past, anybody that is on Turki Al-Sheikh's card, you don't face off against somebody that you are guaranteed to win against. You face off against somebody, even if it's a tune-up fight for another fight. There is risk involved. There is a threat that is there. There is a semblance of danger that is indeed apparent that can derail whatever plans that you have. Genuine. And with Jose Ramirez just lines up right in line. It's not a fight that is, yeah, we get that Devin Haney is favored. And we understand why. In the same breath, it is not unlikely that we could see Ramirez potentially upset Devin Haney, especially with that aggression, and especially with what he lacks in the technical refinement. Makes up for with volume and aggression. And if that can come to fruition, especially with everybody now knowing the best way to get through to Devin Haney, if you can get through to Devin Haney, try to follow the blueprint of either a Ryan Garcia or the inside work of a Lomachenko. Then you can potentially have yourself a day. That's what we can see with Jose Ramirez. So again, don't be surprised. If Haney loses, it's over. I think if Ryan loses, he can always get other good fights and fight Tio. He says that he's only one fought 4 kills. He's the only one who's fought the 4 kings. He is. Let's be frank. Let's be real about Ryan Garcia for a minute. Ryan has been the only brother of everybody in the world of the 4 kings of boxing, with Tio, Tank, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. Ryan's the only man that's faced off against Tank, Devin Haney, and he can potentially face off against Tio. And you want to call it 5 kings because of Lomachenko. Devin Haney's faced off against Lomachenko and Ryan Garcia. So the only 2 people that faced off against at least half of the 4 kings of that regime, or of that class of catalog of boxers, it's been Devin Haney and Ryan. That's it. Of the elite of the elite that were all around the same table at the same time, Ryan and Devin are the only 2 that have actually faced off against at least 2 of the 4, and or 5. Again, if you count Lomachenko in there, which I think you should, because he was still dominant. It's still dominant. And if this back injury indeed does recover, he says he's coming back. So a king can return with the title in hand. But the point being, Ryan Garcia has been facing off against every single legitimate talent. Again, before Rolly Romero, it was Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz knocked out Rolly Romero. Isaac Cruz would have been a league's harder opponent than Rolly Romero to fight against. Yes, he would have. Isaac Cruz would have been a league's harder opponent to fight against for Ryan Garcia than Rolly Romero. And he was going to fight him first. That was the first option. He never ducked smoke. That's why we love him. Again, we can hate all the outside stuff. We can hate all the outside drama. We can hate all of the outside problems, issues, circumstances, and belligerent action that we've seen Ryan Garcia do throughout his career. But in the ring, we can't deny that the biggest thing that makes Ryan Garcia so beloved isn't just because of the talent or the fights. It's the opponents. And the brother doesn't run from any real opposition. He's been about it. Whole time he's been about it. Got to give respect where respect is due. Genuine. And I'm excited for it. Finally, I'm happy. Oh, and by the way, on that same card, lest we forget, we got another major fight in the world of heavyweight divisions with Martin Bakole and F.A. Ajagba. Oh, yes, it's happening. Oh, yes, it's time. Oh, yes, we're going to have another shakeup in the heavyweight top 10 rankings whenever this again steps closer and closer to the world of undisputed status, at least potentially, moving his way up the ladder. And that for Ajagba versus Martin Bakole is going to be a phenomenal fight from my perspective. And again, oh, I almost forgot. Yeah, J-Riggs, you're right. Pitbull is fighting Duarte. Pitbull's fighting Duarte. I completely forgot about that. Oh, shoot. Yeah, that is happening. Oh, that's going to be incredible. Oh, that's going to be phenomenal. That's going to be stupendous. I'm excited for it. Power puncher versus power puncher. A hooker versus a hooker. It's fireworks. I think Isak's going to win. Because if it's just a straight up firefight versus firefight, I don't think it's going to be a situation where Oscar Duarte is going to be able to beat that against somebody like a Isaac Cruz. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it for me. Are they fighting? I was just asking who would win. Yeah, it's confirmed. Turkey Al Sheik just put out a post. I believe it was either yesterday or today within the whole of these fights being announced that Martin Bakole and F.A. Ajagba are going to fight each other, and this is going to be ramifications rippling through the world of the heavyweight division, and now it's going to be big boy versus big boy. F.A. Ajagba has been a buddy who's been on the rise for the last couple of years. Man, one of the most notable things about F.A., he had an opponent who walked out of the ring against him due to the fact that, well, many people thought he was scared. It was actually because of a pay dispute that he had with the promoters, not getting paid what he thought he was going to get paid, hence didn't even bother to fight. But even still, the aura of F.A. Ajagba kept on growing and growing. Had a knockout of the year contender against, I believe, some black dude, I can't remember his name, but right straight down the pipe that crumpled that man like a piece of paper, like a genuine rag doll in a video game. It was horrifying. It was incredible. It was phenomenal. And it made F.A. look like a threat. And he is a threat. Still in the top 10 of heavyweight contention as we speak right now. And I believe is young. If I have my ages correct. He's 30 years old. So he's in the midst of his prime. Now going to fight Martin Bakole, reportedly, as per Turkey Al Sheik, going to fight Martin Bakole. And it's going to be a situation where Bakole has been on a tear, and Bakole is ready to rumble and ready to work. That brother has been in talks, or has been calling out people like AJ throughout his entire career. And now is getting a chance to fight and move up against, again, according to BoxRec, the 13th best heavyweight in the world. 20-1, F.A. Ajagba. 14 KOs in F.A. Ajagba. Now we're in a situation where, look, this is going to be a barn burner. Some of the biggest heavy hitters in the sport facing off against each other with real ramifications for the rankings in heavyweight. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'm telling you this right now. Bakole is going to be the man to win this fight. In my opinion, I think he's going to do it. I think Bakole's going to win. I genuinely do. I think Big Bakole, That brother's going to go and he's going to mop the floor with F.A. I think he'll mop the floor with him. It's going to be a phenomenal, entertaining affair. Oh, don't get it twisted. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And F.A.'s got the power to do some real damage. Oh, yes, indeed. He's got the power to make some real problems for Bakole. Because everybody that Bakole has faced, don't get it twisted. It is a situation where Bakole has faced off against big punchers. Yes, he has. But F.A. is, at this point, the best puncher that he's faced off. And so just tanking shots may be a concern for the likes of Bakole in this fight. It could be, hypothetically, potentially. But the biggest reason why is why I think he's going to win in terms of Bakole's going to beat F.A. Ajagba is because F.A. is a brother, ain't faced power like Bakole. 1. 2. Defensively, is primed and ready to be able to get destroyed by Bakole due to his lack of head movement, due to his keeping on the center line, due to his basic, not great guard, due to him, if I have my statistics on him set. Actually, no, he's about the same size and reach as Bakole, but hand speed from a jab perspective and from an overall perspective isn't like with Bakole, as well as 3, Bakole's one, not Bakole, F.A. Ajagba's one loss came to Frank Sanchez, who at that point in time was looking like a top 10 fighter in the heavyweight division and was looking to be in contention for a heavyweight championship. Now, going up against Bakole, who beat Jared Anderson, who was supposed to be on the level, if not above, the likes of a F.A. Ajagba, if we're being completely honest, as well as a Frank Sanchez, at least on the level of Frank Sanchez, I don't think he's going to be able to do this. I don't think so. And on top of that, the stamina of F.A., I don't trust when it comes to a full-length fight. Because this is going to come down to a situation where they are going to be, F.A. is going to have to work, and I mean work, to go and face off against Bakole. Because Bakole is a fighter for 12 rounds. That brother can go like a steamroller and just continue to punch, continue to throw. Imagine Jarrell Miller, but with power, natural power, not PED power. Jarrell Miller with natural power, a legitimate reach, and actually has the ability to go 12 rounds and tank shots without getting tired, as well as it has better defense, and is so massive that he cuts off the ring without having to move in any way, shape, or form. What's his reach? In fact, what's his reach? F.A. Ajagba's reach is 85 inches and 6'6". I believe Bakole is 6'6", but he's working with one of the largest reaches in the division, if I'm correct. Let me just fact check to make sure. Yeah, Martin Bakole, 6'6", 33 years old, in the midst of his prime. Number 5 in the world of boxing, and he is, again, what's his name? 66, height 6'6", and his reach is, gosh, what's his brother reach? I know he's got a reach. What the word is his reach? Is his reach? Shoot, they ain't even got the reach. This brother may be, shoot. The word, wait a minute. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. How long is this brother's reach? Actually, it ain't even listed. Wait a minute. Is this brother just sweeping the floor with arguably the biggest reach only under Tyson Fury? At 6'6", weighing in at about 300 on average, weighing in at about what, 300, 305, 299 of the likes of a Big Bang Zhang. Oh, that's stupid. Physically, I think he outclasses F.A. Ajagba. Though F.A.'s got the fist, he looks strong. Bakole, I believe, is stronger. Bakole, I believe, is a better boxer. Bacoli, I believe, is going to knock out F.A. Ajagba because Bacoli can do what F.A. can't afford to do. Bacoli can take shots, and Bacoli can go late. F.A. can't afford to go late, and F.A. can't afford to take shots against the likes of a Bacoli. Because I trust Bacoli's chin more than I trust F.A.'s chin. Not because I trust Bacoli's talent more than I trust F.A.'s talent. So, I think it's going to be that we see F.A. Ajagba in a barn burner of a big-time main event. I think we'll see that brother get beat. I think we're going to see F.A. Ajagba get knocked out. I think we're going to see Martin McCauley win, but I'm excited. Oh, gosh, I'm excited. This is what we need. This is what we clamor for. This is what we crave when it comes to the world of boxing. Everybody facing off against each other. Oh, and by the way, speaking of facing off against each other, now that we've got the main card of the fight happening in May, which again is when all those fights will be happening, as per what's reported. Now we can look into the world of Canelo versus Crawford yet again. Because now we've got some shots being fired. We've got some dishes being done. We've got disrespect being handed out left, right, and center in the world of boxing, as Canelo has now said that Terrence Crawford has never fought anybody. Or at least paraphrasing the words of Canelo Alvarez, outside of Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford has not fought any real elite talent in his career. Per his words, not mine. That's not my words, not my claim, not my jurisdiction. That is what Canelo said about Terrence Crawford. Now, why would he say something like that when we all know that that's just not true? Or is it? Could it be that we overestimated Canelo Alvarez or Terrence Crawford's career as a whole, and that Canelo's right? That he didn't face off against nobody. He's faced off against a bunch essentially outside of Errol Spence Jr. Nobody really reputable, nobody really respectable, nobody really of note or of talent on the likes of Canelo, or for the likes of Canelo to deem as worthy to be seen as elite. I think that's a bold-faced lie. I think that's a problem. I think that's that's horrible. That's terrible. That, if I may be frank, that is, excuse me for one moment, just checking the stream real quick. There we go. I think that is absolutely stupid. To be perfectly frank, I think that's stupid. I think that's ridiculous. That is horrible. That is terrible. That is so disingenuous. It's so bad on so many levels. What the world is wrong with you, Canelo? What do you mean he hasn't faced off against anybody elite? Brother, he faced off against some of the same people you faced off against in your career. Lest we forget, did Canelo not face off and knock out Amir Khan? And did Terrence Crawford not face off and knock out Amir Khan? Did that not happen? Did we just overlook that going around? I don't understand. Canelo, shoot. Terrence Crawford faced off against Gamboa. Before Tank, I believe, when Gamboa was at the heights of his tenure in the sport of boxing, at that point in time, seen as genuinely elite. Faced off against Gamboa in his prime. Faced off against the likes of Victor Postal. Faced off against the likes of, not Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was, that brother was not elite. That brother got robbed a win from Manny Pacquiao, a blatant robbery down in Australia, the first ESPN event when they first came back to the world of boxing. Horrible, terrible, despicable. We could have had Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford if that fight was called correctly and judged correctly, and Jeff Horn actually lost that fight against Pacquiao. That's what could have been. But again, faced off against Jose Benavidez Jr., faced off against Amir Khan, faced off against Kell Brook, faced off against Sean Porter, faced off against Errol Spence, faced off against Madrimov. So what the world do you mean he hasn't fought against elite competition? That is one of the most stupid and ignorant and downplaying things that you can say about a fight. That is so horrible. What's wrong with you? That's terrible. That's preposterous. That's ridiculous that would be a sentiment of yours. That doesn't make any sense when it comes to the grand scheme of Terrence Crawford's career. Terrence Crawford has genuinely always faced the best competition that he could. He always has. He always has. It's been a situation where most people don't fight Terrence Crawford. And he still became undisputed in 2 weight classes. What do you mean? The brother ain't fought elite competition. And of those people that he fought that were elite, you fought those same people like Amir Khan. So what the world is it? It doesn't make no sense. It makes no sense at all. Man, and let me see. Bud said that was one of his biggest wins before that came out of his mouth. And it's like Porter, oh, I almost forgot Sean Porter. He genuinely has faced off against top tier talent, has beaten top tier talent, has been a top tier talent, and has only faced off against the best of the best, and never compromised himself, nor the sport, nor our expectations of what he should be as a fighter. Excuse me. So, genuinely, Crawford, what are you doing? Why are you downplaying this? Why are you downplaying what is an actual high-profile career that Terrence Crawford had? There is a reason why we have Terrence Crawford as between 1, 2, and 3 of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, and you are at rank 8 or 9. There is a reason. Because the talent that he's faced on average, even up until now, has been where it's supposed to be. And he's beaten all of them. Genuinely and soundly. No controversial wins, no controversial outcomes, genuine, full-fledged, I won. Period. That's what happened. And we're not saying close fights aren't great, no. But in every fight that Crawford has ever fought, it has genuinely been. There has been no genuine confusion as to who won that fight. None. He has been dominant to the point that it has been a sound victory against elite competition across the board, across weight classes. Then when he moves up, he fights the best at that weight class immediately, without hesitation. No. That's ludicrous. And let's be clear. Let's be frank about this. If that is indeed the case, then that would mean that if we see Crawford pull off the upset, does that mean that you got beat by a non-elite fighter? Is that what's going to happen? If we do see Crawford pull this upset off, are we going to see that do we then say you got beat by a non-elite fighter who only had one good win to his name, and outside of that, everything else was just blasé? And does that then make us have to say that you yourself are not nearly as elite as we have been touting you to be? Does that make you, as a loss to Crawford, if that does happen, does that make you not elite? Does that? If that's the standard that you're holding Crawford to, which is a stupid standard. If that's the case, then Crawford, if you get beat by Canelo, brother, you're a footnote. Were you really elite? No. Can we say that? Because if you're going to put down Sean Porter, multi-time champion, Errol Spence Jr., pound for pound, when he faced off against Crawford, Amir Khan, who you also beat and had trouble with, do we downplay that? Huh? Do we downplay the legit Madrimov at 154? When he faced off against, at that point, an immediate top contender in a new weight class, yet you won't even fight Dave Benavidez, who was in your weight class for 3+ years and was deserving of a mandatory opportunity. And you still went all the other routes, still avoiding him to this day. The world. What the world? It makes no sense. What is wrong with you? What is it that's the problem with not giving Canelo Crawford, the respect that he deserves, because it's deserved. It makes no sense that this is an issue that is genuinely being discussed as reality for the likes of Canelo. What is wrong with you? Why are you disrespecting Terrence Crawford? Are you trying to already build up excuses for if you do lose? Because it's all backfire. If that's the case, have that same energy and say that you were not a great fighter, really, if you get beat by Crawford. Because per your words, the only fighter Crawford has faced off against is Errol Spence Jr. Everybody else, even shared opponents that you faced against, are just bums. We're nobody. If that's the case, we can start dissecting your career. We can start dissecting Canelo's career. We can start going through the rabbit hole of why Canelo's career isn't worth a hill of beans. Can we? We can. But no, that would be stupid to do because that's a bold-faced lie. That would be a bold-faced lie. Crawford is faced off against constant elite competition. Canelo is his biggest test, no question. But do not sit there and play with our faces, play to our faces, that Canelo saying that Crawford is faced off against nobody is a justifiable response. When some of those same names that Canelo faced off against, Crawford faced off against. And within the weight class that he did fight, he's fought the best of the best. Meanwhile, you, at this same stage, being younger than Terrence Crawford, with more power than Terrence Crawford, as being the face of boxing, won't even face off against the best opposition that was supposed to be in front of you. If that's the case, then the one win by Terrence Crawford is better than your best win that you've had in your career, whatever that may be. Because Crawford faced off against his biggest opposition and never lost track of it and made it happen. You never faced off against your biggest op, which was Benavidez. Never. You ran for the test. Crawford never ran for what was the biggest responsibility in front of him. His career-defining fight, he got, and he won. Your career-defining fight that would help your argument for being the greatest Mexican boxer, you ran from, and you still won't fight to this day. You say that he's too small, or rather you say that his name is too small. And then you say you could beat him, but then you say he's too big. So you're contradicting yourself left, right, and center every time we have these conversations. So, is your greatness really greatness when you didn't even take the test that you're supposed to take, while on the other side, somebody else in Crawford has taken every test that he's supposed to take? It's ludicrous. It's stupid. It's blasé. It's outright stupidity. Stupidity on the side of Canelo. Ridiculous. And if that's the case, if you do lose to Crawford, does that mean we can put you as a bum of a fighter that didn't really do anything? And you weren't really amounting to much because you lost to Crawford. If you're downplaying his career to such an extent, it's preposterous. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, it's disproportionate to what we understand about the sport and about the mind of Canelo. And everything you've been saying before about Crawford. The world. But maybe just to draw up interest, draw up ire, get some hate. Maybe so. Regardless of which, he's wrong. Outright wrong. Plain and simple. There is no getting around it. It is straight up wrong. And because it's wrong, if he loses, brother, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. It's going to be bad. My gosh. Oh, it's gonna be bad if he does lose. Let's see. So let's see what people got to say. Ooh, let's see. Oh, we got comments galore. Let's see. That's dumb. Bets are trying to give 54% odds in favor of Canelo to win. That's way too close for someone that's never fought in the division. True. That is true. But let's answer that real quick. Also, I'm clicking, but it ain't pulling up. So excuse me if this thing conks out in terms of bringing up the chats that are coming through left, right, and center. But let's answer that question, shall we? When it comes to the world of Crawford versus Canelo, the rumor is that it's going to happen in September. Rumor is it's close to finalization. And the rumor is we're going to see Crawford take a tune-up fight against Sergey Darvinchenko. Same brother who fought against Christian and Billy and lost, but went 12 rounds with a busted bicep. And still put on an incredibly valiant effort and valiant performance. We covered that fight. We'll talk about Christian and Billy. Potentially Christian and Billy facing off against the likes of Canelo down the line. So now that's going to be our test. Those odds could be close. We're also giving respect to what we know Terrence Crawford is. Already him winning at 154 when coming up for 135 is impressive outright. And so that match him off win did give us some credit. Also, odds are close because there's a lot of fanfare. A lot of fans, doubters, and haters, as well as lovers for both fighters that got their stark opinions. Hence why this fight, for the odds, literally is going to be seen as close. And it could separate, could get even closer. But it's probably going to be contingent on what happens when we see Terrence Crawford face off against, again, allegedly, face off against Sergey Darvinchenko at 168 in a tune-up fight to prepare for the fight in September. Based on that performance, then we get to see whether or not really it's going to be, the down and dirty of whether or not he can actually make one, if he can win. That's number one, if he can win. And two, if he can actually hold his own against the likes of somebody like a Canelo. Based on that performance, that's what it looks like it's going to happen. As what we see right now. But again, that's what we got to say. That's because the Mexican Monster doesn't sell fights. He needed Tank just to barely get pay-per-view buys. I think, again, when we talk about pay-per-view buys, I think Tank can sell. Don't get me wrong. Let's not act like that Benavidez isn't somebody that can't sell in his own right. Benavidez headlined his own card against Caleb Plant and against Boo Andre. That did relatively well. Now, I'm not saying it's Canelo numbers. I'm not saying it's Tank numbers. But it did do well. He was the main event for the fight that Tank was on. Was he the main? Was he the main event or was he not the main event? I can't remember. No, he wasn't the main event. He was the co-main for the fight with Tank. Understandable. Because Tank was the bigger name. We get it. Tank is still one of the bigger faces in boxing. We understand that wholeheartedly. No question. I'm not going to fight that. But we're not going to sit here and say that he is just not a sell. No, he can sell. He could sell. If that fight did get made with Canelo and Benavidez, that would still be one of the biggest fights of the year. That would sell out monumentally. We have had talks of people that live over in Mexico, like with Fight Buzz TV, who's got his pulse on the heart of what the Canelo Benavidez rivalry is, the Canelo and fan beef has been. And if that fight got made today, but that's breaking records, plain and simple. So no, he can sell. Absolutely. He can. And we may just be overestimating the selling power of somebody like Gervonta Davis because of what we're seeing outside of Ryan Garcia. Terrence Crawford has made more money in all of his fights. Yes. The fight that we saw, that we tout as the biggest payday for Tank is indeed the biggest payday. But it was an anomaly. Everything else that we saw Tank earn on average in his career, it's still huge, don't get me wrong. But some people may be overestimating exactly how much of a sell Gervonta Davis is. Not saying he isn't a sell. This isn't to discredit him. No. But the reality of the situation is the reality of the situation. That's what really is happening. So I wouldn't disrespect what we see from the likes of Benavidez. Because he can draw. He can draw. And so, let's see. Sergey is already way too old and I like Sergey, and he was robbed many times, but in his last fights, he looked like two old guys fighting. So yeah, so I can see, I understand it. But even still, when it comes to Sergey, you have to also understand Sergey is a barometer. Just like with Gvozdyk versus Benavidez. Gvozdyk versus Benavidez. Benavidez, it was his first time fighting. Gvozdyk hadn't fought in 2 years. And that was after Artur Benavidez beat him to take his title. He hadn't fought in 2 years when Benavidez fought Gvozdyk. Yet still, that was a high fight to be very close in terms of attention that you were paying. Excuse me. That was a very high-profile fight to pay attention to because it was a barometer for what we could see Benavidez do when he moves up in a division to 175 against a legitimate tenured fighter, if not champion. No, excuse me, former champion. So, since that's the case, against Derevyanchenko, Canelo or Crawford facing off against him, it's not the best of the best. We get it. But it's a barometer to see how you can handle yourself and how you can handle an opponent. Because even at an older age, if you are moving up this drastically in weight from 154 to 175 or to 168, when your initial weight in your career was 135, it is a real concern for whether or not you can handle that. It is. So we have to see this. So it is an understandable take. And this is what I wanted. Let's be perfectly frank. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Absolutely. I wanted him to go, move up, move up, get acclimated. And with anybody who moves up, unless you're people like Inoue, move up, get acclimated to a division, go and get comfortable, build up weight the smart way, get adjusted to the power and the durability and what the other opposition will bring at this higher division. Then take on the best of the best. That's always the best way to do it. Always. From a fighter's perspective, that's always the best way to do it. No question. But the issue becomes, even with that being said, when you take on those tests, you still got to produce. Even if it's not the best of the best. Then that's where the barometer kicks in. And with Crawford, this is right. This is great. This is just what we want. Now, as you see, Jay Riggs, you say Canelo moves up. Everybody calls it a cherry pick before they fought, but not the same for Benavidez. No. People who called that fight with Bivol versus Benavidez a cherry pick were indeed haters. They were. Because on this channel, we've kept the same noise for everybody. When Canelo moved up to fight Bivol, we were saying that's not a duck. We were saying that's not avoiding. We were saying that's not you taking on a lesser test because you're going up to a higher division to go and try to fight the best at that division immediately without a tune-up. And if you achieve that, my gosh, talk about an incredible accomplishment. That would be preposterous. That would be better than the fight that you had with Sergey Kovalev. Because this is the prime Bivol that you're going up against. We were saying that's not a cherry pick. We were saying with Benavidez versus Gvozdyk, that's not a cherry pick. The same thing. For us here on this show, if you move up and you achieve a higher threshold of accolade or facing up against a indeed hard opponent at a higher division, that is not a duck. Whenever you move up, that is not avoiding competition. If you're facing off against the best of the best, because you are looking to achieve greatness, genuine. And Canelo, when he fought against Bivol, I never called it, never did I call it a duck. Because I said if he pulls this off, that's phenomenal. That's not a duck. That's you chasing after something that is incredibly hard to do. Incredibly hard to do. So difficult. So now, you're following in the footsteps of other greats. That's not a duck. Every time you go and face off against a title to get a title in a higher division, especially if it's against the best at that division, immediately, never is that a duck. Never is that a duck in the slightest. Never. Benavidez versus Gvozdyk, not a duck, not a cherry pick. Genuine talent. Genuine. and genuine barometer test for what you can achieve against somebody who's been to the top of the mountain in that division before and understands if he wins this, he will get back to the top of the mountain or close there. So the threat level's there, talent's there, as well as the legitimate risk. None of those were cherry picks in my eyes. So other people can say that, they hate it. We don't hate. It's not here. We can critique. We don't hate. Never. Because of that, it's a genuine thing that not. That was real. That was real and legitimate. And he deserved to have that fight. And if he won that fight, all the praise. And because he lost, you tried to achieve greatness. Phenomenal. Now we see you can't handle yourself at 175 at this weight, at this age, and at this stage in your career. Hence, 168 is your best weight. Move back down. Now that you know where your limit is, now go fight Benavidez. And let's see what happens. That's when, now that you're here where you're supposed to be, after you got tested and you just couldn't get it done, and we see that it was hard for you. Now when you're at your best and at your prime, where you're supposed to be in weight, most comfortable, and you're set here, now go and try to fight Benavidez. Now if you don't, anybody else say you do fight, especially if it's lesser ranked competition, then not. Now we call that ducking. Now we call that cherry picking. Now we call that a problem. That's the standard I got. So yeah. So why would everyone in their right mind say Canelo is scared of Benavidez? The reason why we say that Canelo, or not we, we'll say me. The reason why we say that Canelo is scared of David Benavidez is because of the fact that when every opportunity arose, that just like with the likes of Gervonta Davis, you got the money, you got the power, you got the belt commissions backing you, as well as you have the ability to, with your own pull and cachet, as you said that you had when you went against Turkey Al-Sheikh, when he was initially trying to make all these fights happen. You have the power to make whatever fight that you want. And you know and you listen to the fights that we say that we want to see. And you then went back on your word in saying you'll never fight Mexican fighters. By then saying, I'll fight anybody. By then again saying, you'll fight Jaime Munguia. Which is one of the biggest reasons why you said that you wouldn't fight David Benavidez in the first place, because he was a fellow Mexican. And we want to bring people up. Then you said, forget that, I'll fight anybody. Proving it by fighting Munguia. Proving it by fighting Berlanga. I believe Berlanga is, while it's a different nationality, I believe they are under the same Viva Mexico banner, if that makes sense. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I apologize. Don't mean no disrespect if I'm wrong in that facet. But what I'm saying is, on the whole, every reason that you said you wouldn't fight Benavidez, you didn't went and fought other fighters that went against that reason. And we were happy for it. Because now you went back on not fighting Mexican fighters. Now you're going to fight David Benavidez. It's here. Finally time. We're excited for it. Then Benavidez beats Canelo Plant. He should be the mandatory. His people came to Suleiman and said, if I beat Canelo Plant and or Boo Andre, and do I become the mandatory immediately? Immediately. And he said yes. Then he beats Canelo Plant. Never got the shot that he deserved. Then he beat Boo Andre, one of the most awkward fighters in the division, period. And he knocks him out. And then doesn't immediately get the shot at the title. And then says, okay, this is too much, I'm moving up. And now, at 175, Canelo says he wants his get back. Canelo says he wants to title at 175. The only hope that we can see for Canelo now holding his feet to the fire even more is if we see Benavidez winning and beating the likes of Bebo or Benavidez or Beterbiev, depending on who wins that fight. and then becoming undisputed champion at 175. And now, because Canelo said he wanted a shot at, he wants the undisputed title at 175, that is his main goal. That is one of his key markers that he still has as wanting to happen. Let's see you do it. Now, notice when he fought against Bennett, when he fought against, notice when Bivol lost to Beterbiev, that that Canelo didn't say a word about trying to fight Beterbiev for the title. But he was all gung-ho about getting a rematch at 175 to fight against Bivol. Dead silent. And notice that when Benavidez went to fight at 175 and beat Gavazzi, then said, I will still come back down to fight at 168. Canelo just got to come to the table. I'm here. I'm always ready. But you got to come to the table. Negotiations aren't just a one-way street. Come to the table. Let's talk. Let's make it happen. He has still been wanting to make it happen. Doors open. Fans are calling. Everybody's still saying this fight can be made. Make it. And you still won't do it. Now, the only thing we can say is, yeah, you're ducking that competition. Because at that point in time, every avenue, both from your end and from their end, are completely available. And yet still, you refuse to take the leap. That's a problem. That's a bold-faced problem. Just like with Tank not fighting anybody at 140, just like Tank not fighting Teofimo Lopez, just like Tank capitulating to just fighting bums, you're avoiding competition that is apropos to your talent. Canelo's doing the same thing. Hence a duck. Plain and simple. And so yeah, Canelo fighting Squall, then Bud, then Benavidez. Now, if that does happen, great. Phenomenal. We loved it. We would love to see that. We would love to see that. If we saw Canelo fight William Squall, become undisputed again for a third time, I believe, yeah. No, second time? No. Undisputed for a second time, excuse me. Then goes, fights against Bud, beats Bud, then goes and fights against Benavidez. Phenomenal. Would love it. But regardless of which, the track of all that is still Benavidez is in that timeline. If Benavidez is not, again, because Canelo has all the power. If Canelo, after this butt fight, if he wins, does not go after Benavidez immediately, what else is, like, what do we call it then? I genuinely want to hear. If Bud goes and if Canelo beats Scroll and Crawford, and then does not fight David Benavidez, what is to be said about Canelo at that point? Genuinely. He has cleaned out 168. The only other reputable competition is Christian and Billy at this stage in the career. Jaime Munguia just got knocked out by Shiraz. You don't want Canelo to fight Shiraz, do you? No. He holds all the belts. He's cleaned out every reputable source. Do you want him to fight Boo Andre? No. Do you want to rematch Caleb Plant? No. So what else is there to go outside of fighting David Benavidez? Genuinely. We have had this same timeline of he's going to fight him eventually. If he does not, after this timeline, the J Riggs that you post, what is to be said about Canelo Alvarez? What's to be said about him? What else is there that we can say except for that he is avoiding David? Because at that point in time, there is nothing else for him to do with that division. And Benavidez has consistently for years held the door open to say, come talk to me about making this fight happen. And now if you get your mega fight and beat Scroll and Benavidez and Bud, what else is there to fight David Benavidez? And if you don't, what do we say then? If he doesn't pursue that, if he goes another direction, because he can't go after undisputed at 175, because that's already with Beterbiev and Bivol. And if he really wants to be about that life with the belts that he said that he wants, go fight Beterbiev if Beterbiev wins the rematch at 175. But we know he won't do that because he will get destroyed. You ever heard him say a peep about the 175 title? since Better BF won it. Haven't heard a thing from him. Haven't heard a thing from him since Better BF won the title, have you? No, you haven't. Nobody has. Because he isn't going to face that, because he's avoiding that. He's not going to take that opportunity, take that test, because he's avoiding that test. Because that test, he will die if he faces off against Better BF. Yes, he will. So there's a clear distinction. And when he wants to fight and when he doesn't want to fight. And the same thing that he's doing for Benavidez, similar thing he's doing for Better BF. Where's the same noise for Better BF? If you want to take on the best opposition and you can do what you want, why aren't you fighting Benavidez when he's the best opposition? Why are you constantly downplaying all of his achievements when he's done and fought some of the same people that you fought and beat them? I don't understand. The only thing I can say is you are ducking. That's it. That's it. And I think, let's see. That's like saying Chavez goes 70-0, but everyone still wants more fights. When he finally loses, they say he hasn't won. When he finally loses, they say he wasn't that good at 50-0. Or, he wasn't that good and 50-0 is better. Both of those are wrong. Both of those are wrong. It's again, you are picking arguments from people that genuinely hate on fighters and are fickle. We have talked about this. Fighters are fickle. Boxing fans are fickle. Genuinely, whenever we look at the sport, it's always something that somebody either isn't doing or hasn't done enough of, even if they're already doing it. So boxing fans are incredibly fickle. A lot of them are stupid. Let's be perfectly honest. And they genuinely will not. They won't be happy. Chavez at 70-0 was great. He went to 89-0. And the brother was fighting great fighters and kept on fighting great fighters after that. And still, people got on him. But notice how all of that got quelled when we are now talking about him as arguably the greatest Mexican boxer in history. So no, those noise complaints got silenced when the real history came out. So those types of arguments aren't necessary and they don't amount to anything because all of those are fallacies. All of them are fallacies because they're picked by fans that only want to hate on a fighter, demean a fighter, downgrade a fighter, instead of saying what the actual stuff is that a fighter is doing. It's plain and simple. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Those notions are ridiculous. And it's a problem. Hence why you don't hear me talking like that. I try to keep everything as even keeled and as on the nose as we have so people can get the full spectrum of what indeed is greatness and what that greatness is contextually leveled against in the grand scheme of the sport. Because when people do say stuff like that, 70-0 ain't enough, and then when they lose, oh, you were never great. Well, that's just stupidity. That's just stupidity. You fight enough, you're going to lose. If Rocky Marciano kept on fighting, that brother would have lost. If Floyd fought against the likes of an Errol Spence or a Keith Thurman, he probably would have lost. If he kept on fighting, he would have lost. If he fought people in their prime, there's a likelihood he would have lost. So, like what the world? This isn't hate. This is just this is the matter of fact. So those types of arguments are fallacies that just are aimed to demean instead of truly tell an actual informed opinion on the sport. So stuff like that don't buy into because that type of talk will just run you ragged and run you mad instead of actually informing you and helping you in your endeavor to be a better fan in the sport of boxing or as a whole. It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. And so, but let's see what you all have to say. We got a lot of people. Angry Mexican, what's going on with you? How you doing? Hopefully, I'm not making you mad with the talks that we got, and I'm helping you have a great day in the world of boxing ad that we got covering for today. But let's see what you got to say. Gary Antoine Russell versus Rayo. What are my early thoughts on the fight? That's a good fight. Now, Rayo outboxed Pitbull Cruz. Understandable. Now, will the speed of Gary Antoine Russell beat the, I guess we'll say, newfound slickness that we see with Rayo? That's I'll be perfectly frank. I got to think about that fight a little bit more. I got to see that fight. I got to look into that fight a little bit more. I can't give a concrete prediction as to who I think will win. I believe that we'll see. I ain't seen Antoine Russell in a minute, though. That's a good. We think because I'll say this. If it's the Gary Antoine Russell at his best, I'll say Gary wins for my prediction. If it's not Gary Antoine Russell at his best, because I haven't seen him in the ring in a minute. I can't even remember when his last fight has been in the ring. If it's not Gary Russell at his best, Rayo wins. If it's not Russell at the best that he's been, he loses to Rayo, in my estimation. But if it is, then he beats him. Now I think he beats him by unanimous decision. If he isn't at his best, and isn't the Gary Antoine Russell that I know he can be, he loses by split decision. But if it is Gary at his best, he wins that fight by unanimous decision. Excuse me. But let's see. Carolina Panthers. Hey, you see the shirt. You see the shirty. Carolina Panthers, they still have a football team. Look now. Hey, we got a problem in the Carolinas. Yes, we do. It's bad. Yep, we're horrible. We were terrible. We're growing. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. We scored on average 25 to 30 in the last 4 or 5 games of the season. So hey, we're moving up. We're getting better. We are improving, but we're still bad. We're still much to be desired in the world of sports, understandably. But look, don't hate. Okay, we're growing. We're hurting, but we're growing. Don't count us out yet. We're gonna come back. We're gonna rule. I was going to say we're going to rule the South, but let me not say that because we've seen where that rhetoric has put us in the past. So let's not go there. But we're going to be the kings of the NFC South in the near future. We're going to get back to playoff contention. Don't get me wrong. Give us 3 years. We'll get there. But I'm still repping my team with pride. Absolutely. But let's see. Oh boy, it's a man. Why'd you have to bring that up? We're in the NFL playoffs. We're at a crossroads of left, right, and center. Everybody is dogging us. So please, let us mourn our season. And like the Phoenix, we'll rise again and be better than ever. Mark my words. But let's see. That's what we got. Oh, people have been commenting left, right, and center. Let's quickly go through these. Salvador Sanchez is the most talented Mexican fighter ever, but passed at 23 and doesn't have the long career. Absolutely. Again, that's why I said Chavez is arguably the best Mexican fighter. It's him, Salvador Sanchez, Carlos Monzon also is in the running. You can have your picks of who is the best, but of that tier, he's in there. And Salvador, if he never died, might have just solidified it outright. Could have solidified it outright. Don't forget Ricardo Lopez. Phenomenal. What was he? Bantamweight, flyweight. My gosh, that brother was a savant. There's plenty of them that are in that rung of could be considered the greatest. But what's accepted on the whole is either Salvador Sanchez or Julio Cesar Chavez. It's between one of those two on average for most fans who talk about the sport. So I completely understand it. Absolutely. Again, who do I have? Again, I go back and forth between the two. So it's up in the air for me. And so, but I'll leave the public to decide that argument of who is indeed are going to be in that running for that conversation. But let's see. Who's Barrios fighting? I am not sure who Barrios is fighting next. I think something got announced for it, but I am not completely sure. So When I find out, I'll get back on you. We can talk about it. Gary lost to Puello, is it Puello? Yeah, Gary lost to Puello in his last fight. He did, and that's why the biggest concern is if he lost to Puello against Rayo, I'm concerned. But if it's the best Gary Antoine Russell, I think he can win. But if it's not, yeah. It's like you say, he's getting reckless. He's getting he's not as poised as I've seen him in the past. He's been rattled. He's been made uncomfortable. He's been taken out of his game. And if Rayo does that to him again, like he did against Isaac Cruz, we could see that Rayo stays as champion, potentially. And so we'll see what happens. But now, hey, we still got a show to cover, and we're on the last segment of my show, or the last stuff of what I got on my show, which is in the boxing regime. We got the likes of Inoue. That's right. The monster is back, ladies and gentlemen. The monster is here in full force, roaring back to the ring over in Japan against a new opponent in Joon for his undisputed super bantamweight titles. Again, it was initially going to be Sam Goodman. He was going to fight for the undisputed title at super bantamweight, but now Sam Goodman got his eye cut, couldn't fight, couldn't heal in time. Hence, Kim's coming into play. Now, with this fight, which is going to be again another display of arguably the best boxer in the world, pound for pound. Right now, it's Usyk for my rankings. Again, my rankings alone. You could have something different. But Usyk at 1, Inoue at 2, Terrence Crawford at 3. Inoue, pound for pound, is second best in the world in my eyes, but as a talent is wholeheartedly the best in the world. Full stop. Unequivocally the best in boxing from a talent perspective that I've seen in sport today. My favorite fighter outright, one of my favorites of all time. Might quickly become my favorite of all time and may just overshadow the likes of Joe Frazier in my favorite fighter to see. He's incredible. Oh, he's stupendous. He's phenomenal. He's got everything. And now he's fighting against Joon, a fighter who, if I'm being perfectly frank, it leaves much to be desired in his standpoint of both record and talent. Again, 32 years old, coming into the fight, 21-2, 13 KOs, 2 losses, but never been knocked out. It's ranked 57 in the world as per BoxRec, and now, genuinely, is in the biggest fight of his life. Is in the biggest opportunity in his career. Now, with all that being said, he has been on a 2-fight win streak. Knocked out John Besson, knocked out, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Lochap, if I'm saying his name correctly, but has been on the lower rungs of the boxing world when it comes to a legitimate talent. Isn't really a reputable source. So reputable fighter, with all due respect. Now, he is a good combination puncher. He is somebody that can throw some good flirts. He does have some pretty decent power. Again, 13 fights, 13 KOs of his 21 wins. And he hasn't been knocked out in his career. So we're looking at a situation where this is a tough, gritty fighter, good combination puncher, can work on the inside, but walks in with his hands down. Genuinely is not defensively sound in the slightest. His offense is the best way to make it so that he can essentially be successful. Mitigate what you can do by overwhelming you with what he can do. That's what he can do. And because of that, a lot of holes open. There is a threat, don't get me wrong, but a lot of holes are open. A lot of opportunity is there to get caught, to get countered, to get hurt, and to get KO'd. But I don't think any of that's going to happen against Inoue. And what I really think is going to happen is that we're going to see Inoue completely blow through this brother, absolutely whitewash this cat, and run through him within 5 rounds. Oh yeah, Inoue knockout in 5 rounds against Joon to retain his undisputed super bantamweight title. And now that happens, understand this. There is a road that this can diverge into. There's 2 ways that the aftermath of this fight can go. 1, he stays at 122, looks to fight against Sam Goodman, and gets that fight going on. Or 2, stays at 122, now fights Junto Nakatani. Oh yeah, in a fight that we have been clamoring and waiting on. Nakatani moves up to 122. Finally, we get the mega fight between Inoue and Joon in Las Vegas, hypothetically, at the end of the year. Maybe in December. Could be as soon as September. Who knows? But regardless of which, there is a possibility that another mega fight on top of Bivol and Beterbiev, on top of Benavidez and Moira, on top of Shakur and Floyd Schofield, on top of Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, hypothetically both of them reach each other, on top of the likes of AJ versus Wilder potentially this year. We got a lineup of mega fights coming down the pipe that everybody is excited to see, and I can't wait to witness with you all. So it's exciting. Oh boy, you want to talk about a legitimate standpoint of talent, of great boxing acumen? And ladies and gentlemen, boxing is at a place where we didn't think it was going to be, let alone 3 years ago. A legitimate standpoint of actual high-profile fights happening left, right, and center across the globe. And also, let's not forget that card that we talked about with Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Bacoli is happening in Vegas. So initially on the last stream, we talked about how people were scared that maybe boxing is going to be taken out of the States, out of the U.S., even out of the U.K. It was going to be conglomerate or congealed only within the likes of Saudi Arabia. It's not going to happen. You can't get away from the meccas of the sport. They will always be there. Boxing isn't going to be something that's going to be mitigated to one area. Now it's going to get back to what it used to be, which is being in the meccas at all times, over in the UK and in the US, and making new meccas for boxing to thrive across the globe, which is what I'm excited to see. Absolutely. But now that we've covered all that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got to say on my show. And it is now time for the best part of the show, the championship rounds. That's right. Whoa, let's get it started. It's time. It's your time to shine. The spotlight is on you. Whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to talk about, your thoughts, your opinions, your conversations, everything under the sun, you are here to put yourself out there. Whatever comments, your debates, your talks, your opinions, just wanting to say what's up, your questions. Let's hear what you got to say on the show today with whatever you want to discuss, because it is indeed a phenomenal affair. It's a family affair. It's everybody's affair. This is your show as much as it is mine. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What are your debates? What are your comments? Leave your chats right here. We can cover it all. We got 30 minutes on this show that we can cover at about the 2 hour 30-minute mark, 2 hour 26-minute mark, whatever the world is saying on your respective dockets. Excuse me as I take my sip of water, but it's time to shine. Oh, yes, indeed. Let's see what you got to say in the world of sports as a whole. Do you want to talk about the Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen and the Bills in a game that ended in absolute travesty for the world of the Ravens as they lost a absolute heartbreaker with two MVP caliber talents, essentially two leading MVP candidates, and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson facing off against each other. Lamar Jackson played the game the right way. Yes, he did have I believe he had a fumble in this game and had a turnover. That was bad. But on the whole, once he turned it around, he played correctly. He played the right way. But Mark Andrews had two key drop passes. Not drop passes. One pass caught, ran downfield, stripped for a forced fumble, and then recovered by the Bills, which stopped the momentum of the Ravens getting into a touchdown or red zone territory and potentially scoring a gap closing, or dare I say game tying touchdown. And then in the fourth quarter, on a game tying drive, Lamar leads them down to a touchdown. They score, go for two because they need to tie it up. Lamar throws a great pass to Mark Andrews where only Mark Andrews can catch it, and the butter drops, uncharacteristically. Shockingly to all of us. Had me standing up on the edge of my seat. I couldn't believe it. Now, will this hurt the likelihood that we'll see Lamar Jackson win MVP? And can the Bills now beat Kansas City in a rematch that has become synonymous with the likes of Brady versus Manning in terms of two of some of the best quarterbacks in the world facing off against each other yet again? And Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. My gosh. And I think with the incredibly, with the incredible circumstances that we've seen with the likes of Kansas City consistently pull it out and win, expect some insane levels of shenanigans to ensue between Buffalo and Kansas City. Oh, it's going to be a bomber. It's going to be incredible. And let's see. Barkley, you think Barkley should win MVP? Look, with Barkley getting over 2,000 yards, nearly breaking a single-season rushing record for the NFL this year, and him being incredible as one of the biggest driving forces for why this for why this Eagles squad has been so dominant, is looking to be a legitimate playoff, not just playoff, Super Bowl contender. Oh, he should be in the running. No question about it. But then the question becomes, what becomes more valuable? Is it meaningful to the team? Is it stats? Is it position? It's been similar to the NFL. So many things have been skewed as to what the actual meaning of MVP is. Genuinely. Oh, it's tough. For me, it's Lamar Jackson with Barkley as a close second, and then Josh Allen as third. For me, if I was doing the vote, I would have Lamar as one, because what he did this season was incredible. Oh, phenomenal. Stupid. It was ridiculous. Efficiency up. Running was sublime. Touchdown to turnover ratio, phenomenal. Beat Josh Allen in every single statistic. Genuine. And even with Derrick Henry, still nearly had 1,000 yards of his own rushing. Ridiculous. For me, I would have him as number one, as my MVP. And then Saquon Barkley at 2. And then I would have Josh Allen at 3. But for me, that's what I would have to say. But again, let's see what you have to say. Start bench cut. Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Jim Brown. Ooh. Shoot. I got to think about that. Hold on. Let me answer Jay Riggs' question, and I'll come back to you on that. I got to think about that. Because that's a good question. Sweetness versus Barry versus the OG GOAT and Jim Brown. Brother, that's a tough one. I'll get back to that. Jay Riggs, let's see. Who do you think wins between Boots and Stanionis? That fight did get announced. For those of you who didn't know, Boots and Stanionis, they're fighting for each other to unify the 145-pound welterweight division. And it's going to be a situation where, who do I think is going to win? That's it. Let me think. I think Virgil was dropping him. So Boots might have some trouble. Oh, excuse me. I think Virgil was dodging him. So Boots may have some trouble. Stanionis is above the likes of what's his name? Avanesian. He's above the likes of Sugar John. And he's of that elite caliber tier at 147. He's not a champion for anything. He's not a champion just in title alone. His talent fits the title. This is going to be the real testing ground for what Boots is as a fighter. This is going to be it. This is, I'm going to say Boots because of his innate talent, because of his ability. It is real. But even with me having Boots beating Stanionis, that does not mean that I am not expecting an upset. Just because I have him, I'll pick him to win because I think he should win. And I think he will. But I'm picking an upset as a not so unlikely scenario. Because Boots has continued to fall under my expectations as a fighter. Boots has continued to fall under my expectations as a champion. Under my expectations of somebody who was supposed to be next in line to be the best opposition against Terrence Crawford after Errol Spence Jr. He's falling under. Every good fight is not a good fight. Every good fight is an exciting fight, but it's not a good fight for the likes of Boots because of what he is not doing, which is willingly tanking more shots, which is willingly dropping his guard defensively, which is willingly doing a lot of show defense instead of quality defense, which is willingly not doing a lot of the small stuff because you're bored, because you're annoyed, because all this other stuff that's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you. And when it does, it's going to be sooner rather than later. It's going to be a rude awakening. And that's what I'm expecting to see when it comes to Boots. I'm expecting him to win. Don't get me wrong. But I am not going to be surprised in the slightest if an upset occurs and he gets beat, let alone if he gets knocked out. I'm not going to be surprised in the slightest. Not surprised in the slightest. Not surprised in the slightest. It's been 2 back-to-back fights that I've seen the Boots making crucial key mistakes that you can't make against the elite of the elite when it comes to the world of boxing. And if you keep making those mistakes now, it's the small stuff that makes a great fighter, and it's the small stuff that kills a great fighter. And with Boots, it can be the small stuff that kills a great fighter. And this could be the very thing that finally puts the nail in the coffin. Boots, you let yourself fall to this point, to where you lost. And that's going to be a major problem. So I'm expecting Boots to win. Absolutely. But I am not going to be surprised if an upset occurs. Not in the slightest. Now, Angry Mexican, to answer your question, start, bench, cut, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, or Jim Brown. I got starting, I got Barry. Absolutely. Starting, I got Barry Sanders. And then, shoot. Do I bench Walter Payton? Or I would have to cut Walter. I would have to start Barry Sanders, bench Jim Brown, and cut Walter Payton. But Walter Payton and Barry Sanders, for me, are neck and neck with each other. It's not easy. It's not easy. I don't want to cut any of them. I'd start Barry. But let's say if this was behind a Dallas Cowboys O-line that Emmitt Smith had, I would have started the likes of Barry Sanders. Had Walter Payton or have Jim Brown coming in. No, had Walter Payton as my second running back and Jim Brown as my third running back. And essentially have Jim Brown as my, if we need 5 yards, you're going in and you're going to get 20. And for sweetness, if we running option plays and or screens, I'm bringing him in. And sweetness is going to just do what sweetness does. And so I'd have each back would come in for a different situation. Barry Sanders as the whole would be the number one option back. And then depending on the situation, I'm bringing in Walter and Jim Brown as needed. But they all can do everything. I would put Walter Payton potentially at QB for some plays. And then Jim Brown at fullback. And then Barry Sanders at running back. Can you imagine that triple option? Oh my gosh, that would be incredible. The stuff that you could do would be ridiculous. Would be phenomenal. But that's me. I would start Barry Sanders. I would bench Jim Brown and cut Sweetness. But it would be so difficult to cut Sweetness. Because Sweetness is one of my favorite running backs ever. One of my favorites ever. My favorite outright is a prime Bo Jackson if he never got hurt. But of those 3, that would be my answer. So it would be incredible. Also, Al Booga, what's up with it? How you doing? What's good with it? Glad to get you in to the show. Again, we're in the championship round. We are at winding down the show. It's been a great show. Been a great time. Had a phenomenal turnout. Had a phenomenal time talking with you all. Absolutely. We were talking about whatever you all want to discuss, and we're glad that you're here. Whatever you want to discuss, whether it's football or beyond. Hey, I'm down for it. I'm here for it. Let's talk about it. Let's get down and dirty with the action that we got going on. And again, the chat, I can't click. I can't bring y'all up. This is the only message I can bring up right now. Don't know why. But hey, we're fixing it. It's probably because I just need to update something. It's all good. We'll get that fixed by the time the next stream goes into play. But regardless of which, whatever you want to discuss, we can discuss. We got about 10 minutes left on the show. Or if everybody's questioned out, we can end it right now. So it's still your time to shine. Whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about it. You want to talk about Booster versus Standing Owners? Again, we got Inoue versus Joon Kim in a stand-in for Sam Goodman. Will we see Nakatani afterwards fight against Inoue? Could we see that happen? Well, the pressing questions and so much more. We got the NBA if you want to discuss that. With the likes of, again, Cleveland still being dominant. OKC still being dominant. Houston rocketing its way up to one of the best records in the Western Conference in the NBA, outright and looking like a team that when everybody thought it was going to be a situation where nobody was going to really take this team seriously. Now they are going above and beyond, looking like one of the most high-profile offenses in the NBA today. Preposterous, ridiculous, but sublime in the amount of production and execution that they're doing as a young core. Folks went from playing ISO ball with Jalen Green to all of a sudden looking like a legitimate unit in the world of the NBA. It's incredible. My gosh, phenomenal. And I'm excited to see it. But again, whatever you all want to discuss, anything and everything, all walks of talk, all walks of talent, all walks of opinions, all walks of debates, we can talk about it right here. And let's see what makes it happen. Floor is yours. But if nobody wants to dance, if everybody's done, if everybody's got their stuff out the way, then, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we can wrap it up. This has been a very phenomenal show. And since that's the case, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, Joon Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Yes, indeed. Clap it up for yourselves. Clap it up for everybody tuning in. Clap it up for the phenomenal spectacle that you all put on. Clap it up for the sport of boxing as it's been bigger, better, and better than we've seen in a mighty long time. We still got news to cover. We still got fights to break down. We still got opinions in the base, all to talk about right here on the show. We'll be back here right on Thursday to cover everything in the world of sports. Leave a like on the video before you leave. Comment your thoughts and opinions just in the comments saying how much you like the show. Share the show with everybody you know, and please go about and make this the hottest show in all the globe, and let's make this and keep on growing the empire together. Subscribe to the channel. We're available on every podcasting platform. Peace and love. We are out of here. We'll see you all on Thursday. Listen to this on the podcast, on every podcasting platform imaginable, and we'll see you back next week. Stay safe, be blessed, stay warm. Please stay warm, and everybody have a good time. We'll be back next Tuesday for more action right here on the Welch Report.